So, happy Earth Day. Yesterday. Ignore this little tuft. Quarantine hair, what can I say? This is absolutely not going to be one of those videos where I say that you can be zero waste no matter what your chronic illness, because chronic illness is not zero waste. It's pretty much impossible to be zero waste, but you can reduce your waste. But also I'm going to highlight some of the ableism that exists in the zero waste community. I'm not going to try and convince you to throw yourself through a million hoops to make your disability zero waste. It won't happen, and that's okay. For example, this and that box is 1 month of prescription medication waste. It's a lot. So here's 1 month of my chronic illness waste so far. And that's just my prescription waste. Every single pill in that is necessary for me to just function like a human being. They keep me conscious and they keep me breathing, which is important. Blister packets are not recyclable. There are some claims out there that you can recycle them if you peel off all of the film and then cut them into small chunks, but they just won't be taken. And have you ever tried to peel all of the foil off of a blister packet? I tried it once. It took me an hour and a half to do one. Not happening. There is also the argument that you can ask them to be filled in a bottle. But when they fill your prescription in a bottle for you, all they really do is pop them out of the blister packet and put them into a bottle, which is actually more waste than you would have otherwise used by just having the blister packets. Just because you aren't dealing with that waste, that doesn't mean that waste doesn't exist. And now you've got an extra plastic bottle to add onto that list. And trying to convince me to not use my medication is just, we're just not going to go down that route. That is super ableist. It's almost like people in this movement think that we take these medications for fun. There just isn't another alternative. And I also just don't have any tips for you to reduce this waste, because it just isn't. It's not a thing. There isn't really anything you can do. It's up to the big corporations to make blister packets A, accessible, and B, recyclable, or to just fill them in bottles in the first place and make sure that those bottles are recyclable. You can lobby these companies, but there isn't anything that you can do waste-wise at the moment. So keep taking your meds if you need to. Don't let anybody in the zero waste movement tell you not to do that. Moving on. This wouldn't be a disability and zero waste video if I didn't mention the straw debate. If you need straws, use straws. If they need to be plastic, use them. Don't feel guilty about it. This is the silliest debate I've ever heard. Because plastic straws were actually invented for disabled people and for people who were in hospital and unable to sit up and lift a cup and drink for themselves. So post-surgery, very, very useful. Are we just going to ignore those? Are we not gonna recognise why we had these straws in the first place? Just because they've been co-opted out of their original medical use, that doesn't make them evil. People who don't need plastic straws using them, they have become the problem. Because the people that do need them are being told, oh, you're horrible, you are ruining the planet, but actually they're using the straws for what they were meant to be used for. And yes, we all know that there are alternatives, but they're not all accessible and safe for everybody. I personally do use alternatives because I can. I have some metal straws, which I don't really use that much because cold air carrier, and if I have it in a remotely cold drink, the straw will be cold and then my lips will swell up and it's not cute. But I do use paper straws, which ironically come in a plastic package. But what can you do? When you buy them in biodegradable packaging, the price goes up, and as a disabled person, I can't afford that. How about instead of going after plastic straws, we go after party balloons and party poppers instead, because they are so unnecessary. The plastic straw debate just exists to tell disabled people that they can't use a medical device. And please explain to me how that's not ableist. So moving on, because I don't want to dwell on that. If you do want to dwell on that, I'm going to put a link up here to Jessica Kellgren-Fozard's video about plastic straws, because she did a really good video about it, and I don't want to talk about it anymore. Toothbrushes! I don't think we talk about dental health in the chronic illness community enough. Maybe we'll start here, but toothbrushes. I used to have a bamboo toothbrush, and it didn't ruin my teeth, but it didn't keep my teeth healthy, which then ruined my teeth. I am very much in the ballpark of electric toothbrushes are the way to go. I use one, it's Oral-B, it's just one of the £20 ones that you get in the shop. It was very much an investment for me, but I use it because I want to keep my teeth in my skull. Non-electric toothbrushes for me, they don't clean teeth well enough for my liking, and I struggle with all of the movement and the holding and the gripping and how much you actually have to scrub at your teeth. I have EDS, so my finger strength is not really up there because they're all bendy, and when I try to grip stuff that happens and it's painful. But also I have sort of sensitive gums, and teeth are held in place by connective tissue, so being too rough on them can cause pain and issues and bite movement. So the scrubbing of a manual toothbrush is not really for me. And with a bamboo toothbrush, there is actually a bit of give in the handle, so you're putting even more pressure on to like make it feel secure and having to hold it tighter, and the bristles are a little bit scratchier, and they're just not optimal for dental health. So using a plastic electric toothbrush, it's kind of necessary for a lot of us, especially when far too many dentists aren't accessible for wheelchair users. Lots and lots of disabled people are at risk of poor dental health, and dental health can really contribute to your overall health. So healthy teeth is a really good place to start, and jeopardizing that with a subpar bamboo toothbrush just in the name of one individual's impact, it's not really worth it long term. Because going to the dentist and all the treatment that they do there, that has a bigger environmental impact of using an electric toothbrush with replaceable brush heads. So really I'm actually using less waste than plastic manual toothbrushes, because it's just the brush head that gets replaced and the body stays, but is there a bigger environmental impact of having the battery and the amount of plastic and having the charger for the electric toothbrush? Who knows, but I want to keep my teeth, so that is a sacrifice I'm willing to make. Mask waste. So this obviously, we are in COVID times, there is a mask mandate in lots and lots of places, but I'm just going to ignore that because I wear masks for cold urticaria. I have been doing so for 2.5, nearly 3 years now, and it's not going to stop after COVID, because it is one of my chronic illnesses, and plenty of disabled and chronically ill people need to use masks regardless of COVID. So I'd like to demonstrate really quickly the amount of plastic waste that can come with a mask. Also, thank you to Barry for purchasing these off of my wishlist. So these were shipped in plastic. They were shipped, I don't know where from, but they were shipped in plastic and driven to my door. And there was 4 of them, and they've all come in individual plastic packaging, which you then tear that off and just discard immediately. And then here we have our mask. Now these masks didn't come with filters, but a lot of them do, and each filter is individually wrapped in plastic that is not recyclable. I own probably over 25 masks, and they all came with at least 2 filters each. That's a lot of plastic, and they each came in their own plastic packaging, and they were shipped in plastic. And in some cases they were shipped individually in the packaging you just saw, an outer packaging with an address label, and then multiple of those packages were then put together in one other plastic bag with another address label on it. That is so much plastic, but I need it to go outside safely. There is no other option at this point. So be it. They are the only safe option for loads of disabled people, and that's fine. Zero waste shouldn't come at the expense of your health. There's a movement within the movement in the zero waste community, and I sort of call them radical zero wasters because their ableism is absolutely terrifying. They genuinely believe that you should put your health at risk in the name of zero waste. As if our individual suffering is going to make any dent in the impact that the big companies have on the planet. Am I saying give up and don't bother? No. You can absolutely reduce your waste without risking your health. For example, here are some things that I personally do. I do a lot of thrifting. I just happen to live in an area that has, at the last count, they have 8 charity shops or thrift shops in about within 5 minutes of each other. So I think the furthest distance I have to walk to the furthest charity shop is 5 minutes. And that is a huge privilege. But it means that in the last 6 or 7 years, I have not thrown away a piece of clothing at all in 6 or 7 years, unless it is absolutely damaged beyond repair. The things that I have thrown away, as in actually put in the bin, less than 10. And it's usually because it's been absolutely ruined. Anything that I want to get rid of goes to a charity shop. And I pretty much exclusively buy all of my clothes and all of my shoes from those same charity shops. Or in some cases from secondhand places like eBay, Depop, Facebook Marketplace, because I don't need my clothes to be new. And yeah, that is a huge privilege because I can generally find my size when I go out. It's harder with jeans, I'm short, but I do because I can. I also use bar soap instead of liquid soap because liquid soap and plastic bottles, you're buying a new plastic bottle every single time you buy more liquid soap. And you can go to refill stations, but I find that soap just isn't very nice in my personal opinion. And I'd much rather use a nice soap that is low or zero waste, like a bar soap. And while you can recycle the plastic bottles, there is an environmental impact of recycling. The idea of zero waste isn't just recycle all the plastic, it's to not use the plastic in the first place. Loose leaf tea. Now I don't know whether there actually is microplastics in tea bags, but just on the off chance, loose leaf tea is where it's at. And I can even make it accessible for myself. So that diffuser that I just used, it does require me being able to squeeze it. If I wake up on a day and I can't squeeze it, I have another diffuser that it just opens and then it has like a clasp closure so it stays closed. Or I can brew it in a teapot and pour it through a tea sieve if I really can't do anything fiddly. You can also use a cafetiere for loose leaf tea. It works just the same. Menstrual cups. Everyone's favourite word. They're kind of like Marmite, you either love them or you hate them. And I love mine. It's not an accessible option for many disabled and chronically ill people, but I can mostly make it work. And when I can't, I can't. It's okay. Glasses wipes. So I can't remember what video it is, but I used to recommend using glasses wipes, like these. They are just individually wrapped glasses wipes that you can rub over your glasses and it will clean them off. But these all make waste. This packet isn't recyclable and the wipe inside isn't recyclable either. So I swapped to this. I still have some of the wipes because they're very helpful to just throw in my bag and go and save space. But at home, I use this, so I just spray this on my glasses and wipe off with a cloth. And then I can also reuse the bottle afterwards to make air freshener or just an essential oil spray, again for scent. I also don't buy packets of chewing gum. I buy these little boxes of chewing gum because it's more recyclable than a packet is. You can either recycle the plastic part or you can reuse it. So when this is empty, I'm going to start planting things in it because this month I've become plant dad. You'll see in my next video. Which brings me nicely onto my next point. I am propagating store-bought vegetables and herbs wherever I can. So at the moment I've got some spring onions on the go, I've got some garlic, and I've got some leeks that I'm trying to grow. And it just reduces a little bit of food waste, and in the future it will hopefully stop me from needing to buy at least one packet, because they always come in plastic wrapping, and if I can reduce even one of those, it's good. I also use reusable batteries when possible, but with my hearing aids it's not always possible. So what I do instead is I hold on to the old ones, and my hearing aid centre has those little like stations where you can put old batteries in and they will recycle them. I don't know what that entails or what the environmental impact is, but it saves me from throwing them in the bin. And lastly, I don't use air freshener. Air freshener is A, full of chemicals, and B, in usually packaging that isn't really easily recyclable. I instead use incense or essential oils in an oil burner. I don't use wax melt, not my thing. I make my own incense and then I can make my own scents and how I want my living space to smell. I don't have to go up and choose between ocean breeze and cotton, because what do those even smell like? So that's my small list for today, with a little bit of a rant because I'm so bored of being told that I should risk my health because big companies don't want to cut down their emissions. And I'm bored of ableism, as always. So don't forget to like this video, drop a comment down below if you have any waste reduction tips that you follow as a disabled or chronically ill person. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already and ring that notification bell so you get notified every single time I post a new video. Videos go up every Saturday at 6 PM UK time with at least one bonus video every single month. And while I'm here, on the 1st of May I'm going to be live streaming instead of bringing out a video because I'm going to be taking my intro to BSL exam. So that's going to be fun and I hope to see you there. See ya!